Hi guys, it's Mark again from Christ-Centered Fitness. Before I get started today, I just want to send a really big thank you out to you guys for following this page. Yesterday we crossed 400 likes. We're probably somewhere in the 420s now. And I just wanted to say how much I really appreciate that. To some people, 420 people on a page might seem like small potatoes, but to me, each and every one of your lives is important. And I believe that God has a purpose for every one of you. And I'm really encouraged that you're following and liking and commenting and sharing. So I'm hoping that in the long term, this can be a community of engagement, a safe space to discuss barriers and how we can overcome them, and ultimately helping each other, and then going out to help other people overcome the same barriers that you're currently facing. So again, thank you for that. Now, I've said in previous videos that I feel that tracking your nutrition or your calorie intake is important. And I think that's important because calories are the currency of weight management. Despite what you might have heard, calories drive your body weight. In other words, if you're consuming fewer calories than you're burning through activity, you're going to lose weight. If you're consuming the same amount as you're burning, you're going to maintain your weight. And of course, if you consume more than you're burning, you're going to gain weight. There's no magic equation. It's just really quite simple. And with that in mind, some people have expressed a concern that the fact that calories aren't necessarily an accurate representation of what is the actual calorie count in a food. So what we think is the calorie count, what we might find in the typical calorie tracker, can actually vary to some degree from what is actually in what we're eating. And another concern some people have is that even if that calorie amount were 100% accurate, our estimates of how much we're actually eating tend to be inaccurate. In other words, we tend to underestimate the amount that we eat and overestimate the amount of energy we expend through exercise. Of course, we lean towards what we think is beneficial, and the reality is that's actually quite true. But then I always try to keep in mind the idea that if I'm throwing a dart at a target and I want to hit the bullseye, I'm going to do better with one eye covered than if I have both eyes covered, right? I mean, if I'm closing both eyes, I have no view of the target. I'm pretty much just shooting in the dark and hoping that I'm able to hit somewhere on the target that I'm aiming for. Whereas even if it's less accurate than perfection, I'm still able to have some degree of aim or be able to sort of hit a target with one eye with some visibility. And that's why I think tracking calories is helpful. It gives us some understanding of what we're consuming. Another reason I think tracking calories is important is because it helps often just keep us mindful of what we're consuming, right? Now, some people will say, well, I'm all into intuitive eating. I like to listen to my body. Listen, that's fantastic if you're having a great day, you're in a good mood. But quite often, a lot of us stress eat. We eat when we're feeling down or lonely or bored. So intuitive eating can often lead to you curled up in the corner of the kitchen, crying in the dark with a spoon in the Nutella jar, right? We don't want that to happen. We want at least to have some external way to help us kind of stay mindful. And I found that for many people, this just helps be sort of an external accountability, just like you would check your bank balance to ensure that you're able to manage your money optimally. You would have a budget if you're going to manage your money optimally, and the same is true for your body. You can have this kind of budget and look at your balance, the scale balance, that's going to tell you whether you're overspending your budget and so on. So that's why I think tracking calories is helpful. It just gives us an external picture to show us what we're actually consuming. So does that mean that I track every day? Yeah, I'm going to track on Christmas. Does that mean I can't eat whatever I want on Christmas? Not at all. To be fair, on Christmas, that number that I track is going to be very high, and that's fine. But what it does do, again, is it keeps me mindful on that day and the other days that what I'm consuming is within reason, right? I'm not getting carried away every single day. And it's the overall average of your total intake that matters. So if nothing else, and even if you're not shooting for a specific target, what is often helpful is just to track your nutrition for a period of a couple weeks and see what your average daily intake is. And if your ultimate goal is to lose weight, all you really need to do is take that number and just bring it down a little bit and aim for the sort of lesser number on average over a longer period of time. And generally speaking, your weight will move in that direction. So again, even if you're just tracking, the mindfulness alone is a benefit of tracking calories, and that's why I think it's valuable and I use it. And I recommend other people to do the same, at least in the initial periods as you're beginning to develop the habit of mindfulness. Personally, I think it's good as a long-term habit, or at least intermittently over time, so we don't lose the habit of mindfulness. But at least initially, I think it's really beneficial to have that picture of what you're consuming. So I hope that helps you guys going into this season. Again, I appreciate you guys. Thanks very much for following along and being part of this community.